guests. Right? You know it's that guests. Everyone after me. Guests.
Guests.
Not guesses. Someone challenged you in that role as to whether you should have introduced them or not. You had made up your mind, I think, not to do so. However, you were influenced. I think you could have taken more of an assertive stance and just been a little bit more confident about that. That's what you decided to do. You were managing the time of this particular slot, and you are the incoming president. So a little bit more authority. See, I'm troublesome, right? Doris, all right, R counter. Again, suggestion, why do we count the R's? We have a number of guests here tonight. It may be pretty obvious to most, but we have a very logical reason for doing so. So it's worth mentioning. It'll just take a few seconds to do so. Your report was very detailed. I liked it a lot, even so far as to actually mention what were the unnecessary sounds. You went further than just the and the R's, even citing the words, the phrases. Very good. Congratulations to those who had 0, and many of the speakers here tonight did so. You could have, I feel that you could speed up a little bit. You are very cool and calm, a bit like Thomas, but I know that you're suffering a little bit. But it's your style, Doris. I mean, we've known each other for many, many years. Your style is slow and deliberate. So I would challenge you to relax into it a little bit more and go with the flow. And for something like the R counting, you could speed it up by having a written record and go through it a little bit more quicker and keep the energy flowing. That would be my suggestion to you. Otherwise, well done. Scott, another cool. Scott is a friend of mine, and I introduced him to Centrala, and I think I panicked you in the break when I went into a little bit more detail perhaps than I should have done about what the language evaluator does. So I apologise for that. Scott's first time taking a role here this evening, you did good. No, you did well. No, you did great. You did fine. I thought all the points that you mentioned were valid. I believe that the audience would have some takeaways. They may be reminders, but valuable reminders nonetheless. My suggestion, I like your humour. You're obviously natural here. I like your style, your humour. Don't lose that. Just keep it real. And my suggestion for you would be to balance your report with some good use of language, because there was a lot of good terminology, phrases, idioms, colourful language that we heard tonight. Otherwise, well done. Monica, I'll just mention a few points for you, because Pace, you focused on the table topic speakers. Very good, very good. The only thing, time management. You prepared how many? Six questions, and you were going to give out those 6 questions. I don't think you were quite aware of the time. It would have been more prudent to scrap the last one, because that was bang on time to finish your slot. That's my only suggestion. Individual evaluators. Lawrence has left. All of our individual evaluators today didn't use notes. Did you notice? Yeah, very well done. I'll use mine. Lawrence, I thought he gave a great evaluation. He is actually very, very perceptive on the storytelling. That's his own style. So Lawrence was a very good person to evaluate you, John. You actually had a similar style. And in terms of storytelling, I thought you brought out a lot of good points. My only suggestion for Lawrence was maybe a little bit nitpicky, but he described a technique of timeline as having 3 different timelines. I would suggest that it was 3 points on one timeline. So in terms of logic, to me it feels more logical to do it that way. And his demonstration, what Lawrence did in terms of demonstrating what his suggestion to you would be, Lawrence. Jonathan. Okay. So a novice evaluator would say, well, you could have injected more energy, and you could have done it like this, and you could have done it like that. But Lawrence actually demonstrated and showed the speaker how to do it, and that's very valuable as a speaker to take away. He did a good job. Chahweh, for melody. I like your energy, I like your smile, I like you have a very sweet manner She's looking at me very disapprovingly. No, I find you very pleasant to listen to, and that's a good thing. So I like your style. When you are the evaluator, obviously we balance the praise with the points for improvement. One pitfall for evaluators is to transition from the sweet to the bitter. You know what I'm going to say, right? With the however, which in a sense invalidates all of the good points that you have just started with. You started with the good points and moved into the points for improvement. Just see if you can find another way to transition without this but, however, this contrasting terminology. It might be, it's a minor point. I agree with everything you mentioned. However, yeah, don't do that. You got on to talking about the project objectives, which was the structure of the project, but already the yellow card was showing. So you could have maybe cut short some of the peripheral stuff. You could mention it to Melody face-to-face or write down the comments. But in your 3 minutes here, I would advise that you focus on the project objectives, which was the organisation. That's all. Well done. Jackie Lai. I'll deal with you later. All right. Now, Jackie and I share a lot. All right, we're good friends. And Jackie, you went straight into the points for improvement, which I like. And as a club, for guests, if you've not visited Central Lab before, we don't do the whitewash. We don't do, oh, it was great, it was lovely, well done, if it wasn't. Right? So that's of no value to the speaker whatsoever. So we tell it how it is, and I appreciate that from your evaluation. My main point for you, Jackie, is in the project objectives, it's described as he should do some sort of physical demonstration in the speech, which was absent as far as I could see, which you didn't pick up on. Okay. I only can see the summary of the objectives, but that would be my main point. Always refer your evaluation back to the project objectives. Don't forget. Talis. You did mention the objectives straight off because it was absent from our agenda, so that was very valuable to the audience. You paraphrased the main message, which is a good, it sets us all off on the right path so that we know where we're going and you take us along. I totally agree with your advice on the visual aids. Project aid is notoriously difficult. So I like your language. Talis uses very set phrases, but that's something you might like to consider. It's subtle, but it does the trick. And to your benefit, try again. As I said, if it's to your benefit, try it again. I like your no quest for improvement because I'm running out of time. Pace, good is your unnecessary phrase. Alright? It's unnecessary because on the spot you're unable to think of another word. You must have used it more than a dozen times. It was very good. I like it. It was good. And fantastic is the second place. So pick up a thesaurus, look up all of the words that you can see there under good, study them, learn them. You've done it. All right. So it's not the first time you've had this feedback. Otherwise, you did a good job. You should always try to think of something to give as feedback for the speaker, no matter how small. For Simon, there was no point for improvement. For Demetrius, no point for improvement. For Chris, I would just caution to advise a speaker to walk naturally, right? Because you were pacing a little bit, Chris. I would say that the advice to a speaker is to walk with purpose. To relax, but nevertheless, to be pacing without purpose just because it feels distracting. It could be distracting for the audience, yeah. And you could actually address some of your feedback to the speakers personally rather than in the third person. Have I missed anyone? All right. I was dragged into this role at the last minute. So in terms of organisation of the meeting, it's always a good idea to book the general evaluator 3 or 4 months ahead of time. We like to have a general evaluator that comes from another club that can really look at our club, scrutinise the meeting from beginning